Hey guys, welcome to the Tone Show. My name is Anthony Tone Show Nunez, and today we're talking about Van Helsing, Season 2, Episode 3, Love Bites. Now this episode had a couple of love bites, right? A couple of bites of love happened in this episode. And the first love bites, and this is a double entendre because love literally bites on this show because they're vampires, right? So the first bite happened in the past with our own Citizen Kane-like flashback that happened to Julius, Mr. Romansky, in the past. Basically, Julius's mother was sick, and he met with the most evil nun in the world, Mother Agatha, who has the worst customer service skills and probably the worst nun ever. And she basically said, hey, your mother's going to kick you. You have to pay. So Julius did what every self-respectable person does in a flashback. He goes and enters a boxing fight, and he throws the fight so the mob can give him a nice payoff. But what does the mob give him? A knife in his stomach instead. And who comes to Julius's defense? Julius' life is saved by a bite, a love bite from Dimitri, who looks like he's the head vampire because he turned Julius into what he is. So Julius goes back and he gives his mother a love bite. And his mother jumps Sister Agatha or Mother Agatha because her customer service skills suck. So instead of giving her a bad review on Yelp, they kill her. Now, the second love bite on this episode is the love bite that Vanessa Van Helsing gives her daughter Dylan. Now, Dylan, as we discussed in the past episodes, and so you guys have been watching, she has a special ability that she probably gets from her mother, Van Helsing, that she could stand in the sun even as a vampire, and she doesn't turn into a Rice Krispie. It doesn't kill her. So when Vanessa finally actually bites Dylan to save her, because the thing that happened in this episode is that Vanessa finally was confronted with being an anti-hero. She had to do something horrible. She did something horrible. She kidnapped a man who turned out to be a father of two boys. And not on purpose, but she ended up killing him and trying to serve Dylan some blood because Dylan was in need of blood. And Julius, who had just been turned to a human, told Vanessa that as a young vampire, she needs to feed, her daughter needs to feed constantly. If she doesn't do it, she's going to die. So Vanessa did something that she obviously hates herself for. She did something that's really against her character, but she basically was willing to do anything for her daughter. So she kidnapped this man who turns out to be a father. It looks like he lied about the fact that he was a father and he had children because maybe he was scared that Vanessa would kill his children. So I'm assuming that's why he didn't tell her that he had kids. Maybe if he had said he had kids, Vanessa would let him go. But Vanessa, he brought him in and looks like he was scared. So he shot Dylan and Vanessa basically chopped him up with the axe. And after all, it's not enough to save Dylan. So I think Vanessa bites Dylan out of the not just because she's faced with this fact that maybe she doesn't have another way to save her daughter, but also I think maybe she was confronted with the fact that she couldn't do this again. She will not be a monster. And that's what she calls the vampires, monsters. She will not be a monster even if it's to save her own daughter. Even though that's exactly what happened in this episode. So I think Vanessa did not want to continue this path. She knew it was now or never. She was going to find out if that doctor really lied about what he did to Dylan. It looks like the doctor didn't lie. And Dylan turned into a Rice Krispie once she was in the sun. It was horrible because Vanessa obviously was horrified, and I just felt bad because Vanessa cannot get a win. But I'm not surprised because if Vanessa had her daughter and she was happy, then where would the plot of the show go? So it kind of seemed like it was something that was going to happen. It had to happen. Dylan either had to be whisked away to safety, or there had to be another reason for Vanessa to combat this vampire plague. We also learned in this episode that Vanessa is very much like a vampire in the sense that the people that she bites and brings back from vampirism, those people are also connected to her. So at the end, when she let out that yelp, that scream of horror, of anger, everyone, Flesh, the doctor, Julius, everyone who she bit and turned back, they all stopped at that moment because they felt her anger, her pain. So they're all connected. So Vanessa, there's more to Vanessa than we actually know, and that's what that taught us. That little scene right there. So far, I'm not happy with the choices Vanessa made in this episode, and if anything, she's more of an anti-hero now than ever. Now, I'm not sure if this is a love bite, but we also saw the return of Sam. I am Sam, who looks like he's very, very well suited to be a vampire. Because remember, Sam is a serial killer. Turns out Sam, he looks like he had a couple pies missing out of a pizza, right? Sam wasn't all there. And once we found out he was a serial killer, it seemed like it all made sense. And Sam is very good at being a vampire. He basically attacked this juvenile, looks like a prison, with these juvenile kids that were living inside of it. And there's this one kid, Felix, who looks like he wasn't living up to what the other kids wanted of him, and they were basically punishing him. It looks like this is not the first time Felix was punished. So when Sam attacks the prison, we find out a couple things from this attack. One, Sam is really well suited to be a vampire. Sam is hella strong. They shot him multiple times and attacked him. They couldn't take him down. It was a mob of kids, and they still couldn't take him down, even though they were well armed. So Sam is a very strong vampire. And when he finds Felix, that boy that was being basically punished and rejected by the others, I think he saw Mo. He saw Mo, and remember that Mo and him were tight. So I think he sees a connection there, and that Felix, this new kid, reminds him of Mo, of Muhammad, and that's why he was so connected to him. And he misses that friendship that he had with Muhammad, because remember, Muhammad took care of him, and he took care of Muhammad. They were a pair. And I think he's looking for that connection. So he sees that connection in Felix. And we saw that Felix at the end, he was so angry that he killed that kid who was messing with him. It looks like that kid has been torturing him for a while. So we don't know what's going to happen with this character of Felix and Sam. But it looks like they're headed to be a pair of dangerous ones. And we don't know if this kid Felix is in it because he's going to be turned by Sam. Or is Sam going to turn Felix? Or is Sam just looking for companionship? But one thing is for sure, Sam has some glasses straight out of Batman vs. Superman, like something that the new Batman would wear. That's what he looked like with those glasses. He looked like an owl. So Sam is back, and he has a new friend, and his name is Felix. And speaking of Sam's old friend, Muhammad was basically, he's still injured. He's in that bed. And it looks like it's the vampire apocalypse, but they must have Gatorade because Muhammad's like, give me some water, give me some Gatorade. So Flesh is basically trying to bring Muhammad back, and his friend, the gun-wielding woman that he's rolling with. Basically, he trusts her to tell him his secret because they're making everybody give blood. And he thought that if he gave blood, basically he'd be found out because Flesh used to be a vampire. Now Muhammad, being the quick on his feet that he is, tells Flesh, don't you dare tell those people you used to be a vampire. They'll turn on you. But Flesh does not listen. He tells his gun-wielding friend, the woman that he's been with, hey, I used to be a vampire, and things go sideways because they automatically throw him into prison. They don't believe him. They think they think there's something wrong with him. There might be some working for the vampires. They definitely think there's more to him that meets the eye. So they lock him up. Muhammad was right, but it turns out that his friend doesn't want to be held responsible for Flesh's death. So she breaks out Flesh, and they take Muhammad's wounded ass and they run away from where they've been held up in that camp with all those rebels basically who were rebelling against the vampires. So it looks like these three are going to hit the road, and I would not be surprised if they run into two other friends who are on let me call them friends, but they're not really friends. Another pair that are on a road trip. That's Axel and the Doc. There were some funny moments because Axel and the Doc are looking for Van Helsing, they're looking for Vanessa, and they're on the road together. And I thought there was the only humor in this episode. It was a very sad episode, being that even as much as Dylan was a pain, it's really sad to see Vanessa lose her daughter, obviously. So the only sunshine of this episode, the only humor that I found was the little interactions between Axel and the Doc, and seeing these two together, because the Doc, she's a glutton for punishment because she knows that she deserves it, but at the same time she's practical. She even tells Axel, hey, feed off of me, and then you have enough strength to find me some critters to eat. So Axel and the Doc are definitely having fun on the road together, and I think they're going to run into Muhammad, Flesh, and his lady friend with the gun. And I think I need to find out this lady's name, y'all. And basically they're all gonna head towards the road together with Vanessa. And I think there's a mission coming up, and we don't know what happened to that ninja, that ill ninja that's rescued Muhammad. So let's see what happens with that ninja in the next episode, and let's see what Dimitri's up to. Is he still soaking in that blood bath and that blood sauna, that jacuzzi of blood that Dimitri has? So these are all questions to be answered in the next episode of Van Helsing. This was definitely a very heavy episode, and multiple love bites took place, right? This is The Tone Show. If you guys enjoy what I do on this channel, drop me a comment or consider subscribing. This is The Tone Show, and I'm out.
Remember to like and subscribe for more Tone Show.
Subscribe if you haven't. Tone Show out.